On Tuesday, January 19th, on a nice, brisk, cool morning here in Milwaukee. I hope everybody's having a great week. But hey, I wanted to kick off something with team meeting. As I sat yesterday in reflection on Martin Luther King Day, I wanted to share with you two thoughts, especially after going through the year that and everything that 2020 has brought us, and even potentially the start of 21 that we've all seen. Yesterday was a great day of reflection if you hadn't had a chance to do it. And I wanted to share with you two things, because I think a lot of things that go on in our life can be a distraction to our business, can be a distraction to our relationships with people personally. And some people share with me some things yesterday that I thought was really poignant to share with the group as it relates to everything that's going on in our world today. And I would share with you these two thoughts. First, I would say the first quote I'd share with you from Martin Luther King Jr. is, "I've decided to stick with love because hate is too great a burden to bear." And the reason why I share that with you is, if you're like me and the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning and you grab your phone, and I usually check my email, I check my text messages, and then I always end up on Facebook or Instagram at some point in the morning. And what I found 2020 to be is it's the most divisive place to start my morning. There's too much hate. There's too many people hating on each other. There's too many people sharing, trying to tear each other down, and it just doesn't make any sense. And so I would challenge you, as you think about 21 and you look ahead, is hate is far too great of a burden to bear. And so I would challenge you to start your morning with love, just as the quote states. The other thing I'd like to share with you is this, and this was sent to me from a friend of mine last night when we were having a conversation, is this: people fail to get along because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. That's the biggest problem I see with social media today. People have no understanding or perspective of where people are coming from. And so what I would challenge you with as you start the day, and as I had a moment to reflect on yesterday and what yesterday meant to me and how I want to live my life focusing on 21, is hate is far too great of a burden to carry every single day. And I challenge you to communicate with each other to better understand each other's perspective, because the noise, that I call it, the noise is far too great of a burden to carry around every single day. And it's very distracting for your personal relationships, your professional relationships, and everything that you have going on. So take that as just a moment of reflection and carry those words forward for you. And such a great man, and he carried incredible words, and you got to live them, breathe them, and live by the virtues he believed in every single day for that to carry forward, not just one day a year. So that would be my challenge to you this morning as we look ahead into 21, and how do we achieve anything that we want to get done personally or professionally. I thought it was great way to start our morning of reflection, and as it relates to yesterday's events. So cool, guys. In December, we had a bunch of people who had massive success. And with that, I want to make sure that we're celebrating people and celebrating their achievements, because as someone has always told me, people have an insatiable appetite to be recognized, right? People have an insatiable appetite to be recognized. And it's important, not only do you recognize others in your life, but we recognize those that have had great success in the month of December. So here we go. I'm kicking it off, right? First person. The first person who comes, I'm just going to share with you quick anecdotal things that come to my mind when we're celebrating these people. First person loves Bruce Springsteen. He said he would give his kidney to see Bruce Springsteen perform at the Marcus Amphitheater at Summerfest. I've been trying to make it happen for him. Not that I have any pull, but I think about it all the time. And he always shares me incredible stories of watches. It's something that we share in common. I love hearing people's stories of watches. Nick Fetting, congrats on capping in the month of December. Next person, this person quietly goes about his business, is a great person in the community, has a great young family, lives only about a block or two away from me. I see him very frequently. Our kids go to the same school. George Folliard, congrats on capping in the month of December. Love it. Next person, I've shared a story with her before, and I love sharing it because it's the true essence of your vibe attracts your tribe, right? And the story I shared was this person frequented a retail location that we all go to on a regular basis and picked up a buyer simply because the person that she did a transaction with in the retail store loved her energy, loved her positive vibes. Kirsten Lindstrom, Congrats on capping in the month of December. Next up, someone who's new to the game, who's absolutely hustling, killing it, and learning from one of the best, joined On Point Realty Group with Marcus Auerbach. Casey Lopez, congrats on capping in the month of December. I mean, that was all of in like 30 seconds. Casey, congrats on absolutely killer success in the month of September. Next person, every time I interact with her, she gives me a dose of energy. She is ultimately, I mean, an incredibly determined person, hard charging, but really kind and really sweet. Steph Miller, congrats on capping in the month of December. Next person, this is what I'd like to call the guy who's absolutely Cali chill. Just super laid back, has a great vibe about him. Really, again, another one of those people where your vibe attracts your tribe. People are drawn to his energy. Guy Nicolette, congrats on capping in the month of December. And yo, shout out, I really dig the socks and sandals look. It's extra nice. Guy, congrats on capping in the month of December. Next one, this person kills it, not only in one city, but two cities. She had an incredible over $1 million month in the month of December. She's trying to bridge the gap between the Chicago and Milwaukee markets. Emily Fair, congrats on capping in the month of December. Next up, this guy routinely sets the mark, the high water mark in the state of Wisconsin. No one does it bigger or better than him. Incredibly giving person, is always willing to give back of his time, talent, and energy whenever people ask of him, and continues to pace the industry and what is possible in southeastern Wisconsin. Jay Schmidt, congrats on capping in the month of December. And then last one is a family member of mine. He's my uncle. He flies in and out with a ball of fury, incredible energy. The success, as I like to always remind him, is in his follow-up. PY, Pat, oh no, my apologies. Pat Young, congrats on capping in the month of December. And then last one, which I skipped on my notes, Morgan Young, my apologies. Getting into this business right out of college, starting at a really tough age when a lot of people have find it a hurdle to get over in terms of people working with them because of their age. If you're young in this business and you're in your 20s and you want to learn how to do it at a high level, go get coffee with Morgan Young. She came in at age 22 and has done a phenomenal job working with her dad, Randy, of really building a nice business for her. So Morgan, congrats on capping. And PY, I apologize, I'm a little mixed up on my notes. Pat Young, again, shout out to you. Congrats on capping in the month of December. So there we go, guys. People have an insatiable appetite to be recognized. Make sure you're recognizing people in your world. And then as you see these 10 people in and around the industry today, or if you want to shoot them a text, say congrats on having incredible success in December and enjoy 100% of your incomes moving forward. All right, I'm flipping it over to Jen Turner, who has some very important updates for you as it relates to 2020 tax and accounting information. So Jen, it's on to you.
All right. Hey, it's that time of year again, folks. It is time for your 1099s. So this week, I'll be sending all of your commission data to the printers, and your 1099s will be printed and out in the mail by the 31st. That means you should expect them the first week of February. Please note, if you have changed your address, please update your information with us right away. Like I said, I'll be sending that data to the printers today, tomorrow, and Thursday. So I'll need that information right away. So just email us, give us a call, whatever. We just need to make sure that we are sending that to the right place. Next slide.
Jen, when can these guys expect to see their 1099s in the mail?
I did say that's in the first week of February. They should see them.
Perfect. My apologies.
That's okay.
All right, next up.
And then your profit share. I get a lot of questions about this every year. On the 31st, they will be available electronically. You just go over to MyKW Resources, Profit Share 1099s. You'll be able to download a copy. You'll also receive a physical copy in the mail, but I often get questions from folks that don't get them. That also can be remedied by updating your address with us. We may have a bad address on file in Winmore. So go ahead and update that with us right away. Next slide. And then you'll get 3 reports this week. There's a new one this year. So this year you'll get your 2020 closed DA report. That's every transaction that you did in 2020 that closed. And that'll have a whole bunch of information on it that'll be really useful to you. That'll be your royalty and your company commission payments. You'll get your expense report that'll be itemized by, office supplies you purchased, your consortium and technology fees. It's really useful for doing your taxes. And then your deductions report. That's BAC fees, transaction management, launch program, fines, all of that stuff. So that'll be in your mailbox this week in your hanging mail folder. So keep an eye out for that and don't lose it. And then the $25 fee, we'll be taking agent payments this week. If you have any questions, please let us know. But this $25 fee keeps you in our profit share system.
Perfect, Jen. Thank you very much. Guys, as a reminder, these reports are very, very important to making sure that you're not overpaying the government on your taxes, right? So making sure that you're picking up these 3 reports, they will be placed in all 3 Market Center office mailboxes based on where your location out of, right? And then making sure if you have any profit share that you're making sure that you're paying attention to your 1099 coming in for profit share, and then as well as the 1099s that will be mailed out the first week of February for your gross commission incomes. One of the things that I'm also going to send out in the follow-up from in the insights and resources email that I send out and Diana sends out this afternoon is we'll share the recording to the tax strategies conversation that was had last week. There were some very good little nuggets in there around some different loopholes, different strategies as it relates to what you can do to save on your taxes, especially as many people in 2020 had incredible incomes and incredible growths. You want to make sure that you're taking advantage of various aspects of the loopholes, and there's some great little tips and tricks involved in that conversation that I'll make sure to send out the recording to if you have time that you want to go back and listen to in between showings or in the car, or whatever it may be. But again, we're here to make sure that you get your tax information done. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to reach out to anybody on the leadership team. We're here to serve you with that. But yeah, if you have any specific questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to Jen Turner or Emily Vandenbogard. Awesome. All right, guys, I'm flipping it over to Lindsey. Lindsey, give us the Tech Tuesday update. What are we working on? This is what I call automation domination.
Nice. Hey, good morning, everybody. So today we are rolling into our next tech workshop. So today's workshop is in person at the North Shore office in the downstairs training room. Lake Country, we're doing the same thing on Thursday at 11 a.m. directly after productivity in the upstairs training room. So there is a registration link in the January training calendar. If you guys can just click that and sign up, just so I can kind of get a feel for how many people are going to show up for each training. So today is all about setting up smart plans. So we are going to sit down, bring your laptops. We're going to set these up. So if you have your database in Command, this is the next step. So if you're brand new, or if you're experienced, if you've been, working with your clients and you're finally just plugging into Command, this is the next step, is to set those contacts up on smart plans. The great news is that there are over 2,500 smart plans to choose from in the smart plan library. So there's a combination of smart plans that are created by Keller Williams, and there's also smart plans that have been created and then shared by other Keller Williams agents. And these range from just a monthly email to more robust smart plans and follow-ups. So including emails, text messages, task reminders to send a handwritten note, make a phone call. They're all in there. You can find a smart plan that's going to work for you depending on who you're contacting. If it's following up with leads, following up with your sphere of influence, they're all in there. And so I wanted to kind of just follow up from a couple of weeks ago. We did a tech workshop on setting up, and this is just a screenshot of what that screen looks like when you're selecting those smart plans. So 2 weeks ago, we did a tech workshop on setting up Facebook ads in the campaign section of Command. And so if you guys have set up those Facebook ad campaigns and you're now getting leads funneled into your database, the next step is setting those leads up on Smart Plans. And the really exciting news is that KW released a feature enhancement a couple weeks ago. So now when you get those leads, you can actually click on the number of leads, and you'll see that first screenshot there where you've got the number of impressions, the number of clicks, the number of leads. 20 leads is in blue. That link is clickable. So when you select that, it's going to take you to a screen at the second screenshot there, where it's a list view of all of those leads that you've gotten from that ad campaign. So this is great if you're running 2 ads simultaneously and you don't, before you didn't know which lead came from which ad. Now you do, and you can easily bulk select those leads, add them to a Smart Plan, add custom tags, or you can archive them. So you've got those 3 options down below. So you can easily add those leads to a Smart Plan. So many agents have some great Facebook lead follow-up Smart Plans that you can set those leads up on, and you can also bulk tag them. So if you want to tag them with that, the name of the Facebook ad or the location of where that listing pertaining to that ad was from. So a really, really nice enhancement, just ties those 2 pieces together in Command to make it so much easier for you as you're managing these leads and these contacts. So that's what I've got for today. So again, join me today's at 1 o'clock at the North Shore office. So you guys, if you have any questions, if you can't make it, there are training videos up on the YouTube channel of both setting up those Facebook ad campaigns, setting up Smart Plans, setting up a 33 touch using Smart Plans. Those are all on the YouTube library under the tech training playlist. But today you want to just come in person and actually set these up. Join me today.
Awesome. Lindsey, thank you. Guys, my word for you is this: automation, automation, automation. We've talked about it a ton. If you want to dominate your market in 2021, set up your marketing plan. Automation, domination, right? Smart Plans are synonymous with automation. So when Lindsey talks about Smart Plans and what you need to do to get a Smart Plan running, think you should be triggering, how do I automate my marketing? Automation, domination. Check it out with Lindsey. And if you need to set up a one-on-one, she is happy to do it to help you understand what this means and how to set it up. It's a great way to target your client database by letting it run in the background when you don't even know it's going. Cool. All right, compliance team, Kimmy, Steph, and Joan, you guys are up.
All right, good morning, everybody. I have a few compliance updates for you all. First and foremost, I want to remind everybody about our exciting announcement that we made last week, which is that we added another compliance broker to the North Shore office. So Joan Reed, who comes with over 20 years of experience running a real estate firm and helping agents in the day-to-day, everything that goes on in day-to-day life of a realtor. So she is here to support you with contractual questions, day-to-day transaction help. So be sure to save her email and phone number into your phone so you know who to contact when you have questions. I am obviously still here helping with compliance review, any E&O situations that come up, and making sure our agent platforms are all set up. So just be sure to reach out to Joan if you have questions. She's excited to assist you all in your businesses. With that, my compliance reminders. My compliance reminders for today. There is a state law that firms shall retain records for at least 2 years. So this is why we have you submit every document, all your documents through Command for compliance review. It's my job to ensure that we have all the required documents. So this includes obviously all those required documents: listing contract, agency agreements, offers to purchase, deposits, receipts, closing statements, things that we're saving on the back end. This also includes any other documents or correspondence utilized, received, or prepared in connection with any transaction. So you all need to treat your opportunity like your electronic filing cabinet. Everything related to that transaction should be uploaded into that opportunity. Whether they're, obviously we've got required placeholders, but there's I mean, a transaction can have numerous amendments, numerous notices. We obviously don't have placeholders for all those what if situations, but so even though we don't see those required placeholders, it is a requirement that you're uploading amendments and notices as they are executed. If you go to the next slide, Charlie. So if you do have any of those additional documents where we don't have one of those corresponding placeholders, it's really easy to add a placeholder for that document. So in your opportunity where it says add item, you're going to click that and you're going to basically create a placeholder for any additional amendments or notices. Everything that's a contractual document, so an amendment, a notice, an additional addendum, anything related to the contract must be uploaded into the under contract folder or the listing folder if it's related to the listing paperwork. Any other document that is still related to the transaction but is not contractual based should be uploaded into a custom folder. So on the left-hand side there, you can see you can create multiple custom folders. So this would include lien waivers, invoices, any additional test results, title paperwork. If maybe you have a kind of a contentious deal and you think, you know what, I should probably be saving these emails, save those emails into PDF format and create a custom folder that you're uploading all those emails. You just never know when things are going to come up, and maybe in a year from now, a client might ask you for a copy of certain reports or invoices. And if you have those readily available in your electronic filing cabinet, you know exactly where to find them. But then from a compliance standpoint, it's important for us to have those as well. And then on that note, as far as our protocol, just a reminder, for new listings and buyer agency agreements, as you get those executed, that listing folder and the consultation folder in command needs to be submitted within 7 days of the start term date of those contracts. Once you get an accepted offer, whether on your listing or a buyer, that under contract folder needs to be submitted within 7 days of acceptance, even if you're missing required items. So I know the inspection report is one of those things that doesn't always get submitted right away. Totally fine. I'd rather have you have your file submitted on time with things missing than submitted late. Failure to submit within the deadlines may result, if you're failing to submit within those 7 days, may result in a $100 fine. If your opportunity is not submitted and reviewed prior to closing, it's a $300 fine, solely because this is a state requirement. The brokerage would be in big trouble if we didn't review these before closing. So.
Perfect.
Next topic, the GMAR sent an email out yesterday that I wanted to bring to your attention. They are having a professional standards forum on February 3rd. So check for that email and you'll see a link to register. The topic is on professional standards, where you can learn and understand the professional standards process, as well as the ethical issues that are currently impacting the real estate industry. So great opportunity for you to brush up on your, the ethics laws and just how to be the best professional in this business. And then with that, just a friendly reminder that starting February 1st, the GMAR is going to start issuing fines for agents who violate the advertising laws, which is you must disclose the firm name in all social media advertising. I'm seeing this, the GMAR has been great about kind of issuing warnings over the last few months. We've been seeing this a lot in some of those buy, sell, North Shore groups where people are posting from their personal pages and not making reference to the brokerage. So if you are posting those, post from your business page if possible, and make sure your business page has Keller Williams in the name. Otherwise, on your photos, making sure you're adding the KW logo. It just must be clear and conspicuous that you are an agent of Keller Williams Realty.
Perfect.
That's all I've got for you today.
It's a lot to unpack, Kimmy. Thank you for helping on that. Guys, I just want to reiterate a couple things. One, she's 100% spot on. The reason why we have compliance standards is because we're required by the state law to maintain all records and files for 2 years. It is not uncommon for us to be subpoenaed for information as it relates to a transaction or other things like that. So we use command and the opportunities as the electronic filing cabinet, right? And I would say 99% of the group is phenomenal at following and adhering to the guidelines in which we need to be making sure that we're keeping our compliance files. We rarely fine people. And when we do, to be honest with you, the fine doesn't go to revenue. It goes to educational scholarships. So when people need money to go to family reunion or Bold or things like that, that's where we're pulling some money from. And then last thing that I would state as it relates to the GMAR advertising violations, Kimmy did a great job of recapping it, is your brokerage affiliation has to be clear and conspicuous. I would tell you last fall, it was almost as if Scott Bush was reaching out to Kimmy and I at least once a day, if not twice a day, to try and help educate people as we moved into the new violations. And I would tell you since about, really since the first of the year, I'm not quite sure, and Kimmy backed me up, I'm not sure if we've had one. People have done a really nice job of making sure this is cleaned up. So if we see anything and we reach out to you, we're only doing it as an education because we're trying to prevent anybody from getting fined from the GMAR. Cool. Kimmy, thanks for recapping. It's a bunch of stuff, but it's a lot to unpack, and we need to make sure that these guys are staying up to speed. All right, cool, guys. Now I'm jumping into it. I'm giving you the market insights, right? I'm going to give you the weekly trends. What's going on in the 5-county metro area of Waukesha, Milwaukee, Racine, Washington, and Ozaukee. And I looked through my notes. The last time I did this was the first week of December, right? And this is going back to look at what's going on a weekly basis. And then what I did is I compared it for the last 2 years to give you insight in terms of what is the story that's being told in the marketplace, right? What is happening in the marketplace? And especially what I would tell you, if any of you read the Journal Sentinel or electronically or in the paper, the front page of the paper either yesterday or today was all around the housing market and residential real estate trends. GMAR just sent out a notice of a press release as it relates to the industry and its performance in 2020 and how in their kind of predictions for 21. And so you're seeing things, news outlets picking this up from Fox to ABC to the front page of the Journal Sentinel. So it's a very good time to kind of review these weekly trends. And I have a grocery store script here at the very end to kind of walk through with your clients, because I can tell you I've been bombarded with friends, with people I've seen at the grocery store, Sunday morning at Brugger's. Everybody's asking about what's going on in the market, and it's definitely a hot topic of conversation. So I wanted to jump back into the weekly trends to tell you what is the story that's happening so far that we're seeing. And it's just 2 weeks of data in 21, but it's a trend, right? I always say 1 week is an anomaly, 2 weeks is a trend. 2 weeks is a trend. So let's jump into it. Here is the showing time data across the state of Wisconsin. So these are all showing requests right now. You can see here, this is the light blue line is 2019, the dark blue line is 2020, and the orange line is 2021, right? So again, as a reminder, this is for state of Wisconsin across showing time data. This is, again, showing activity across the state. So here's what I want to do. I just want to focus on the first 2 weeks because we only have data through January 17th. So this would have been through Sunday's showing activity. Let's kind of hyperimpose and kind of look into this. If you can see right now, if really through January 17th, here's what we know. The first 2 weeks of 2021, showings are up over 5% over 2020. Right? Showings are up over 5% over 2020. You can see here as we look at 2020 really started to take off that last weekend in January of when it really started to skyrocket before the global effect of COVID hit in March. But you can see, again, 5%, first 2 weeks, showings are up 5%. Really, really good showing that people are coming back out into the market post-holidays, right? So store that in your memory. Showings are up 5% through the first 2 weeks of 2021 compared to the same 2 weeks of last year. Now, let's take a look at sales absorption data, right? And the reason why I'm leading with sales absorption data is this. This is a very key point you need to understand and as it relates. Sales absorption, as I've talked about before, but for those of you who are unaware, sales absorption data essentially is telling us what is the percentage of the total inventory right now that is going under contract in a given week. So if you look at the first 2 weeks of 2021, last week, 12.1% of the total inventory went under contract. The week before was 10%. Now, if you look back over the last, I believe this to be maybe 26 weeks, I'd have to count, but you can see here, even when August was incredible, and even in September was one of the best Septembers we've had in a while, you can see the sales absorption rates August was around 11%-ish, 10.5, 11%. September kind of came down to 10%. October, which was really good across all measures, one of the best Octobers in residential real estate history, was at 8.5%. Then we got into November, best November ever. It was 6.5, 7%. Then we got into December, best December ever. It was around 7%, 6%. Boom. Now, all of a sudden, we get the pop. And the pop is everybody gets out of the holidays and we're seeing incredible rates of sales absorption, right? This is a major indication of demand across the marketplace, right? Here's what you need to know. When I looked back across all the weeks in 2020, if we're operating at about a 10 to 12% sales absorption, and again, it's only 2 weeks of data, but it's a trend. It's more than 1 week, right? Our peak selling season in 2020, we saw sales absorption rates around 10 to 12%, right? We saw peak selling season in 2020 of sales absorption rates around 10 to 12%. What that means, incredible demand really is coming back strong into the marketplace. And January, February, March will be unlike any January, February, March you've had, right? So we've been operating in this world that's unlike really kind of any other months that we've done, right? We've talked about this in September. We've talked about it in October, right? But you need to understand that a large percentage of the inventory, and it's on par with where peak selling season was in 2020, is going under contract. That's really good in this market, right? Now let's take a look at units under contract. What you'll know here, unlike in the previous, which we talked about the percentage of inventory that went under contract, this is simply units that went under contract. And yes, units since August, going back to the week of August 3rd, units had started to slow, right? But again, sales absorption is a function of the inventory that's on the market. So there was less inventory on the market, which we'll get to in a little bit, in the fall and into the holiday season, which is totally normal. And then what happened? Boom, we saw the spike. People got out of the holidays. Units are starting to get under contract. People are ripping up, ready to go, man. There's pent up demand in the marketplace. And the first 2 weeks of 2021 are definitely telling us that story, right? Here's what you need to know as it relates to units that went under contract. In January of 2019, on average, there were 397 units that went under contract in a week in January of 19. In 2020, on average, in January last year, there were 423 units a week that went under contract. So far, the first 2 weeks of 2021, we've had 437 units that went under contract. If you compare this to 19, which was a banner year in real estate, was up 10%. If you compare this to the trend that we're seeing this year of 2021, the first 2 weeks trend versus 2020, January of 2020, it's up 3%. And again, January 2020 was one of the best Januaries in the industry. So this, again, very positive momentum coming out of the holidays in the first 2 weeks of 2021 as it relates to the number of units that went under contract. Now, I want to jump into expired listings, right? And why do I jump into expired listings? Here's what you need to know. Expired listings are also an indication of how things, are they being priced effectively? Are they being marketed effectively? And if expired listings from a trend standpoint go down, it means that we are moving inventory through the market and we are remaining in a seller's market. One of the things here is, don't be surprised by this number, the last week of December. Contracts historically for as long as as long as anybody's been in this business, December 31st is always a time of year when people expire contracts. This is not an anomaly. This is totally on par with trend. So let's just take a look at the first 2 weeks of the year in 2021, right? In January, again, a 2-year historical perspective. In January of 2019, we saw about 168 units that expired a week in January of 19. We saw 195 units expire a week in January 2020. And reminder, January 2020, the inventory situation wasn't any better. So it was interesting to me that we saw more units expiring in January of 2020 last year per week than we did the prior year. And then if you jump into the first 2 weeks of the year of 2021, there are 18% fewer listings that expired so far from a trend perspective of 19 versus 21. And if you compare this year versus last year, there's 29% expired listings. Again, people are taking listings, people are marketing the listings properly, and they're getting through and selling in the system. A good positive trend across the industry. Again, 2 weeks, but 2 weeks are a trend. Now, let's jump into new inventory units, right? Here, again, it's not totally surprising when you go back to August 3rd of what we've seen. This is following historical trends, right? And even in the months of, I believe, let me rephrase that. August, new inventory units were positive versus prior year. September, in this one September month, they were positive versus prior year. October, they were positive versus prior year. November took a little bit of a dip, right? And then we got into December, and December was up about 5%. Now, let's take a look at the first 2 weeks of 21. What are the first 2 weeks of 21 telling us, right? This is the most concerning statistic I'm seeing so far in the data, right? Everything as it relates to demand and buyers and units getting under contract has been very healthy, right? The new inventory units coming to the market, when we compare it versus the prior 2 years, very low. Just a fact. There's no emotion in that statement. Everybody knows it, but they're very, very low. Down 29% versus 19, down 26% versus 2020. Here's what I also know. The last 2 weeks of January, hopefully, again, I have no line of sight to this, but hopefully we start seeing major things pop the last 2 weeks of January as we have historically seen. So again, I'm not overly concerned by this trend because these trends are a 2-week trend versus the average for these months. And knowing that the last 2 weeks of the year is when new inventory, or last 2 weeks of January was when new inventory really comes to the marketplace. So this is something that I'll be paying attention to as it is concerning. The other thing that you have to know too is, 459 the first week of January was really healthy, and that was more than units that were under contract. But know this, new inventory for the first 2 weeks were minus 13 a week versus units going under contract. What does that mean? More units are going under contract than there are coming to the marketplace. So again, total inventory is continuing to shrink. We haven't seen that pop yet as it relates to new inventory. Okay. Now, total inventory, we've seen a major, major decline week over week over week. This isn't a story. If you've been in the business for a while, you're feeling it, right? I was on JSG's team meeting yesterday. They're feeling it. I know they're experiencing. Everybody's talking about the inventory issue. Listen, you can't fix it yourselves, right? We just have to do an effective job of communicating our value as a licensed professional of how we're going to help people come to market in this environment in a safe and effective manner to market their listings. That's our job, right? So, right now, what I would say is sitting here in the second week of January, right now, there's 3,850 active units of inventory. In my almost 4 years of doing this, I've never seen below 4,000 inventory units on a weekly basis. Definitely something I'll be paying attention to. These two units are the one thing I'll be paying attention to like a hawk. New inventory units, total inventory, and then comparing it to those that are going under contract to see when we're going to start to alleviate some of this inventory issue. But right now, the data isn't telling us that that's coming up, right? All right. So here's my grocery store script, right? Here's when I'm walking in the aisles of Sendix and somebody stops me and says, "Hey, Charlie, I read the Journal Sentinel article this week. Tell me, what's your experience? What's going on?" Right? And here's my 30-second elevator pitch when I'm in line getting hot dogs at Sendix, right? I don't know why hot dogs, but my kids love them. So here we go. Here's my grocery store script that I'm telling friends, family, anybody I see at the local grocery store. This is the time of year when we begin seeing market activity ramp up as we head into the spring market. What does that mean? The first 2 weeks in data in 2021 are telling us that there is major, major pent-up demand, right? And remember, 2020 was a banner year for residential real estate. Oh yeah, you read it in the Journal Sentinel article. Yeah. It was a banner year. I mean, it was incredible. 2020, despite everything that was going on, was incredible in residential real estate. And looking at the data in the first 2 weeks in 2021, people are out in force, right? There is major pent-up demand, right? So how do we know this, right? Oh, yeah, that sounds great. But like, what are some of the things you're looking at? Here's what I'm looking at. The number of homes going under contract on a weekly basis are already outpacing January 2020. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. Check this out. Current inventory is going under contract at rates we saw during peak selling season. Homes that are going under contract are going under contract at rates we saw during peak selling season in 2020. Wow. Interesting. Right. And all of this is happening in spite of historic low levels of inventory. Right. So here's my market of the moment, your grocery store script, as people are, seeing things in the media and asking you, and they're coming up to you in the aisle and they're saying, "Hey, what's going on in the residential real estate market?" Here it is. Here's the grocery store script, market of the moment. And I'll make sure that we're paying attention to these trends to to keep you proactive on the industry, knowing that 21 is going to be unlike any year that we've experienced so far in this industry. So any questions as it relates to that, don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you need me to pull specific data for you in a certain community to help you win a listing, reach out to myself, Diana, Mandy. We're here to do it. We're here to help you and serve you. And if there's any way that we can help you tell your story utilizing data and numbers, we're here to do it. But that's what I'm seeing right now in the market of the moment for the first 2 weeks of January of 2021. Cool. All of this will be sent out to you guys in the weekly Insights and Resources email that will come out sometime today from Diana and myself. All right, Mandy, we're kicking it over to you for upcoming training and education.
All right, great. Good morning, everyone. So this week on the training calendar, today we have launch coaching with Amanda. So Amanda, I'll let you pop on if you want to unmute and tell us what we can expect for today.
Thanks, Mandy. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. So launch is at 10:30 today, 10:30 to 11:30. Last week, we talked about habits. This week, we're talking about what highly successful people do to master their time. So if you're having trouble getting going, if you're feeling sluggish, like a lot of people are this time of year, and you just don't think you're making the best use of your time, jump in on this class. You don't have to be a new agent to join us. And I've got some great tips and some things you can start putting into practice today to master your day, your week, your month, and to own your year.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Today also, Lindsey talked about it already, but 1 o'clock we have labs live in the North Shore. So if you didn't register, just show up today. She's going to be walking through a few things with the tech workshop. And then we had a little change here in our January training calendar. So Title 101 will still be happening, that part 2 with Focus Title, but that's been moved to next Thursday, because this Thursday we actually are going to have a mandatory launch call. Janine, I'll let you pop on to talk a little bit about what they can expect.
Great. Good morning, beautiful people. So Thursday will be a mandatory meeting for those who are in the productivity launch program. So be there or be square at 9 a.m. Please have your cameras on so we can see you, because we show our faces. We want to see you guys. But the entire launch and productivity program teachers will be there as well. And I believe Mandy and Charlie and Joan Reed, our newest addition to KW. So please make sure that you're going to be on, and we look forward to seeing everyone there.
Yep. And you guys, usually, you know, it's not mandatory. We make it mandatory about twice a year. So please make sure to time block to be there. We're going to be kind of rehashing. We've gotten some feedback that there's a ton of resources, but sometimes sifting through it to find what you're actually looking for is a problem. So we're going to be talking a lot about where to go for what, simplifying it a little bit, giving you guys a little guidance on how we can help you, and you guys giving us feedback as well on how we can help you guys. So please, please, please time block to be there at 9 o'clock. If you are in the North Shore office, there will be a new Zoom link for that meeting. So you will get a calendar invite today from Megan Casey with that Zoom link. So keep an eye out for that. And then Lake Country, they'll talk about it in your breakout after, but there'll be a separate Zoom link for you guys as well, as the programs are a little bit different. So keep an eye out for that this Thursday at 9 o'clock. And then we'll be back on our regular schedule for second half of Title 101 with Jenny Klug next week, Thursday. Thanks.
Hey, Mandy. Just to recap, also, Lake Country has a little bit of a different program. We will also be having a mandatory PC meeting with all of our new agents and our mentors to clarify what's going on and the expectations of our new agents and the expectations of our mentors. So we will also have that mandatory PC meeting out here at Lake Country, and we will have a different login for a Zoom meeting.
Thanks, Connie.
Thank you.
You're the bomb. We appreciate you. Thanks for jumping in.
All right. And then Ignite, you guys are halfway through with Ignite already. I can't believe it. Halfway through. So tomorrow we have our next session of Ignite with Stephanie Minnick. And then Friday we have Ross Treffert. So if you're in Ignite, keep going, keep plugging away. You're halfway through. So one little reminder too on Ignite is if we have a lot of people who've had full attendance, if you are full attendance. We're going to pay for you to go to family reunion, which is the next thing I'm going to hit on here. Family reunion, a lot of you have registered already, which is awesome. It's less than a month away. It's back, it's digital, it's bigger than ever. You can register now, and then you'll be logging on February 15th through the 18th for 4 days of vision, innovation, networking, and tons of culture too, just beamed directly into your home office. So if you attended last year's mega camp, Family Reunion 2021 promises to be even bigger than that. They figured out ways to be more interactive and more informative. You really do not want to miss it. So you can go to familyreunion.kw.com to register. And the best of all is that all the recordings and breakouts will be available after the event. So you can catch up on the ones you missed and go back and rewatch anything that you really got a lot of takeaways from. And they have released a sneak peek into the schedule and a lot of the breakouts. So you can log on now and check out to see what some of those breakouts are. So that is February 15th through the 18th.
Guys, I would leave you with this. If you want to jump into Ignite because something piques your interest, or you want to learn from what Stephanie Minnick or Ross Trefford are doing to have absolutely killer businesses, jump in. You don't have to be in the full class if you want to participate. Shoot us a note. We'll get you the Zoom link. Second of all, many of you, if not all of you, cannot afford to not attend Family Reunion for $100. Why do I say that? If you ask any of our top people, all of them will tell you everything that they do is they learned from somebody else. They learned from someone who is doing something better than themselves. That's what Family Reunion is all about. Sharing different ways and helping you think bigger about your business and ways in which you can infiltrate your market in which you want to work in. So that is it, guys. It is a beautiful day. I want you to go about, attack your day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Hate is far too great of a burden to carry every single day, right? Remember those words, live by the virtues that Dr. Martin Luther King lived with every single day, and you will be a better person for it, and your business will thrive because of it. So, Lake Country crew, I'll let you jump off to the Lake Country meetup right after this. North Shore and Tosa Teb crew, you can stay on, and I will jump over to convert to new listing and buyer needs. Give me about a minute. All right, guys, have a great day. Be awesome.